show right now, Joey.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting the show right now.
Oh, did you set it up?
I did set it up. This is just called Soapbox right now.
Fucking correctly.
Hopefully this is correct.
Misspell something.
Did I really?
I got it.
Go to hell. Oh shit. Okay, hold on a second here. I'm gonna let me see here. I'm gonna invite. Let me see. All right. Anyone who wants to come in. Anyone who wants to. By the way.
You're eating something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'll beat the clipboard. Anyone who wants to come in live who has dared to show their muzzle, please go ahead and do so. If you don't want to, that's up to you.
I'm not talking to Howard. I mean, you can have him on. I don't really care.
I'm not, dude. I don't have that guy call in my show.
That's going to be an exception. No, Howard.
Now, all three of you have to agree to come in at once, or you can't. We can't do anything at all. Hey, guys, if you're listening, this is Transparency and Merit. I am Brian. I'm on with Joe and Liz. With Transparency.
A fucker.
What's that?
Send me the link.
I sent you the link.
Oh, here it is, motherfucker.
But the thing is, if I hang up on you, will that disconnect everything?
Well, I'll hang up, and then you two will remain. How's that?
All right, that's good enough. Hopefully that'll work. He's hung up, and both of us are remaining. Liz doesn't want to go on this thing because, of course,
I'll go on. Do you want to just have me? Do you want to call me in?
No, you can just. Okay, I sent a link. You can just come on. You can click on the link. But I mean, if you're not decent right now, then of course, you know.
Oh, I'm not going on video. I am not wearing a top.
All right, then we'll just keep you on here.
So,
Yeah, we'll just keep you on here, Liz. That's fine. We don't have to.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Keep my titties safe.
Yes, we'll keep your breasts safe. So. Now, Liz, have you partaked to any of my shows so far, and do you have any comments on that?
Have I?
I recently did, by the way, a show on a black British politician who I found to be very ungrateful, Diana Abbott, black British politician, and you know, it's one thing if Black Americans, they were, you know, I think it's nonsense with them, but at least they were born into this country and then they came here by choice. I mean, they didn't come here by choice. Mm-hmm. But people from Britain did not come here by choice. I mean, they came here by choice. I'm mixing up my words here, but they came here by choice. And then they choose to take on the role of being oppressed or victim. And I find that to be a bit of ingratitude. Do you have an opinion on that?
So you're saying that there are Black people that come to the United States.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And when they get here, and they're here because it wasn't great where they're from.
That's true. It may not have been. Yeah, that may be true. Yeah. So it wasn't that great where they're from.
Or they're here.
Yeah.
Or whatever, you know. Okay. And they come here and they live here and they're.
Well, no, I mean they're in England. They're not here. Diana Abbott is a British politician, but you've been in. I mean, I haven't been in Europe in years. But you know, so you have more recent experience in Europe than I do. And these are people coming to Europe and claiming white supremacy and claiming victimhood. What would be your opinion on that? And don't you think that those people are being ungrateful?
Well, considering they take in a considerable number of refugees from all different backgrounds, and race and religions or what have you. Yes, unless they're being told that people don't like them because they're refugees or because of their skin color or something like that. But I can't say that you see a lot of that go on when you're out there. Most people are pretty normal and helpful and kind. So I would say that the politician is more than likely blowing it up and taking it out of proportion.
But she is elected by the constituents there, and the constituents there, from what I understand,
the constituents there now are incredibly mixed, and they allow voting rights to refugee status, people who have been there long enough and seeking like permanent asylum. So, and residents, if you're married, and their voting laws are different. But I mean, when you have an overwhelming population, like you can go into certain parts of the UK, and the majority of a neighborhood or a district could be, predominantly Muslim or Middle Eastern, or anything. And guess what? Your elected official from that district is going to be most likely someone from that background. So,
but
when you flood,
what I've noticed, and you could stop me if I'm wrong. If you have, I'm going to close my window because I hear a lot of cars going by. You can tell me if I'm wrong. You can tell me if you think I'm wrong. But I mainly see this in countries with large white populations or large people of Europe, large percentage of people of European descent, allowing this to happen. I don't see this happening in Asian countries, for example. I don't see this happening like this. I don't think this would ever be tolerated in Japan.
Why are these homos wearing sunglasses?
I asked a question. We'll get to the whatchamacallit later. So
we'll get to you.
Liz, did you get my? Liz, Liz, did you get my question?
I do. Yeah, I mean, why isn't it happening in places like? Well, I mean, as far as the different race of people.
Well, no, you wouldn't see you wouldn't see the same type of behavior from foreigners or from people who are foreign born or who have parents that are foreign born behaving in such a manner. Diana Abbott was speaking against the white population, which is, the country is, England and Ireland and the rest of Europe, those are ethnically based countries, just as Japan is.
I mean, yeah. I mean, there's a lot more civil right freedom though in those countries than there are in a lot of Asian populated countries though. It's like in Thailand, their rules are a lot more strict when it comes to behavior in general, even towards their own people, let alone other people coming in and running amok like that. So I mean, their immigration standards are a lot different. Their visitor standards are a lot different, but also the way that they treat their people is a lot different.
Now, do you still talk to the people of Ireland?
I do.
Now, what is their feeling on these refugees? Are they pro or are they against them?
Pro or against?
You'll find them humanitarian people. They're kind people, and they'll take in refugees, but they're generally against what they would call like an overpopulation of them. So it's they get a little nervous when you start seeing neighborhoods like predominantly filled with refugee status folks. So it they're very vocal about it, and their politicians listen because their politicians have like a sense of pride, well, nationalists on a considerable level. So
well, because I mean, one of the things that I hear a lot from the from the English people is like, we were never asked that our country, because like, I mean, London, for example, the major city, the major city of England is no longer majority Britain. It's
no, but it hasn't been for a long time. But you have to remember that you have people who look Middle Eastern that are actually British people, or even if they're not.
Well, they're not British. They're not ethnically British.
Correct. They're all white. I guess and so it's hard to say, it's hard to say. But I mean, as far as, do I think refugees and immigrants have taken over London? I don't know. But I think that London, I mean, it's the largest city, but you look at all the other cities outside of it, and I don't think that's the case. I think it's just your city. I think it's just London, mostly, that's like that, because everywhere around that you have very very prideful British people surrounding, populating the rest of the country.
Well, there are also prideful British people. I mean, like, I would say prideful British people in London.
The British pride.
But I mean, there were, and I think the majority of them are probably not happy that their major city is not ethnically British. It's one thing.
I talk to them. When I speak to people, that's true for the most part.
And it's basically, it's not popular, and the people there should know that, hey man, wait a minute, we're not down for this. And the thing is, it seems like a few elites control the media there, and they have hate crime, like hate speech laws there that are even worse than, I mean, we don't even have, we don't, there's no, America, there is no hate speech, it's just speech. But in England, you have very severe hate speech laws, and they've, from my understanding, some of their hate speech and hate crime laws have led to a lot of victimization of the British people.
It hasn't. But I mean, I don't think you're incorrect in that statement at all. In fact, because the laws are so steep over there, I think even if you examine the relationship between the Irish and the British, with the northern part of Ireland being taken over by the British, and that's still a battle that, the Irish won't ever let die in their minds. And, what's illegal and what's not by the, the northern part being controlled by the British versus, the Republic of Ireland. There's a reason why there's a reason why they attack, and the reason why they have a problem with it. And, their quote unquote homegrown terrorist organization is now even a political party in the country, because they don't agree with the way that the British like to control and when it comes to speech or narrative and in media and things like that. So I mean, I don't think you're correct.
And you know what, Liz? I wonder if some of these European hate speech laws. I mean, there was like a complete, like, the Labour Party got completely decimated in England. So I wonder if the hate speech laws are going to change over there, and you're going to see like maybe a change within the people. Like,
well, England, they're in a weird spot for the idea of going to a globalization platform in direction of the country, or holding strong as Britain.
Well,
I don't know what exactly or how they're going to do that, because that's a tough one for them, because they've literally let in so many people at this point. It's because such a melting pot, where they're damned if they do and damned if they don't. They risk a lot if they go with globalization, with their, the idea of globalization within their own country. But, they risk a lot if they don't remain Britain and kind of appeal to their people.
Well, one of the reasons, because
relationships with it.
Yeah, Liz, there was an election where the Conservatives won very large. I mean, they basically swept Parliament, and I think one of the reasons, the biggest reason, was immigration. I think was the biggest. What's that? Oh, Wayne's there. Secret agent. So getting, and now we're going to get to the stock market. It really took a surge today. It was surging. Did you feel the surge, Liz?
It's all big surges. That's the thing. So they think they found, or they think they're on to a vaccination for the COVID-19 virus. And, this happens every time that they think if they have a lead or a promising lead, that the markets do a little bit better. Even if they have a vaccination, they still have to do testing.
Mhm.
They got to manufacture. They have to do all this stuff, and that takes time. You can't just magically make that happen. So I think what happens when you see these surges in the market saying that they're hopeful for a vaccination, that means they think there's a relationship to people going back to work because the fear isn't so much there. I think people should go back to work anyway. I think that we should be intelligent enough and logical enough to go, hey, got to keep grandma home, but if I want to risk going out and getting
Liz,
sick,
do you wear a mask? Do you wear a mask?
No, I don't wear a fucking mask. Who does that? Sorry, I didn't mean to swear.
Joe will never wear a mask, and Joe, by the way, will never. And I almost think that he will film me getting a shot while cussing me out and telling me how stupid I am to even get a shot.
I will not let
Why would you get
or family get a vaccination if I can help it.
Well, you can breathe right through them.
Yeah.
Isn't that the point? Anyway, I mean, no.
Everything in my power to speak sense.
I'm gonna live like a normal human.
Until they realize.
Have a mask in it in normal life. My biology doesn't agree with wearing a mask every day. In fact, my immune system depends on me not wearing a mask every single day.
So when you when you went into the store, they didn't require when you go into the grocery store, what do?
I just walk in and I grab a cart and I keep about my business.
That's about it. Just avoid people, mind your business, go through. And if they're going to force me out, I'm going to make them tell me to get out. But so far, I've avoided situations. I've avoided places where I know for sure they will not serve you but there's other places I found where question and I go and shop there. I haven't had an issue yet.
And the whole thing with masks, I mean,
yeah. I haven't seen one, but I mean, if they would have to tell me to leave, and if they did, they would probably forever lose me as a customer.
Well, yeah,
they make me leave over a mask when I'm completely not sick. Like, you can go fuck yourself, and I'll tell everyone. But I know I'm not alone in this mentality, and so I think businesses should tread lightly. I know that the protection of customers and shoppers and their staff, I know that's important, but also not being a fear-mongering idiot is also important. And if it's worth losing my business, then and kicking me out, then it's going to be worth losing it forever. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's just and there's been so much so much bad information and conflicting information on whether you should wear a mask, on whether you shouldn't wear a mask.
There's no conflicting information. No, but
even Dr. Fauci. Information.
Even Dr. Fauci made the comment that America should not be wearing a mask.
You cough into your shoulder, or you sneeze into your shoulder. You wash your hands. You're not a filthy pig.
Mm-hmm.
Too late. You have social mannerisms about you that, you cover yourself. Then you should be fine. Coughing into your jacket or your shoulder, is more effective than a mask. So I mean, once again, it's like when all logic kind of goes out the window. Then I kind of think, man, I really, really shouldn't be empowering these people to do business, because then the country is ran by morons. So if they're going to kick me out, they're going to lose me. They're going to lose me forever.
People have had signs up about people walking outside have to wear masks. And there was someone on my city website saying, please wear a mask when you're outside. And I said, the CDC doesn't require that you wear a mask. And he says, you're watching too much, like he said something like Fox, Fox News. I'm like, dude, get out of here, man. No one, that's.
Yeah.
Get the hell out of my face. I would get pissed. I get real pissy with somebody who put that out into
and I would not pay attention to it if I did.
Yeah. So. And this, like I said, this kind of double-sided information, I think is going to cause a red wave because people are sick and tired of the way this thing has been handled. And
it's the same. It's the same. Not my president idiots running around out there with misinformation, trying to influence the crowd and the fear monger. They have ads out right now trying to hire political activists, quote unquote, $500 a day. $500 a day to go out and influence people as an actor.
Oh man, I might do it.
Yeah.
Not my president.
I actually have one of the ads, but you sit there and you're like, that's what they. But it's like that's an idiotic thing to do. If you have to hire an actor for your cause, you've lost the plot.
You're losing the battle. Absolutely. That's
and you don't have a good plot.
That is a desperate act from a desperate group, and it's the tides changed. Finally, there are now a lot of people finally who are like, to hell with the mask. Fuck that. Not wearing the mask. There is overcrowding going on in Malibu. There are tons of people going down to the beach without masks, and all the residents are up in uproar. It's like this big deal that that I'm really kind of proud of those people for doing that.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
I can't go to my beach house because it closes up traffic to that area. It's very upsetting. But you sit there and you're like, this is ridiculous. First of all, if you think about flu season and the things that kind of always help during flu season, like the sun, in heat and getting outside and fresh air and not being cooped up, you're killing yourself staying inside. Not to mention, wearing a mask only restricts airflow in and out of your body. I mean, that's
carbon
not
dioxide,
good
right?
for you.
You're breathing back.
Yeah.
Breathe out. You're breathing out.
You're breathing a higher percentage of recycled air from your own lungs of what your lungs are trying to get rid of.
And did you see all these people trying to make, like they made masks out of different things, like Kotex, and there was one guy, he made a mask of old underwear, and it had like a shit stain on it. This is my fucking mask.
Take that.
Take that, you.
It's true. We are not meant to handle long-term airflow restriction like that. In fact, you will make yourself sick doing that. Like there's a reason why you don't do that. The only time you're supposed to be doing that is if you're temporarily in a situation where you need to block that, like at a hospital.
Yes, get on camera with
or
us.
You're trying to stop yourself from getting a germ onto someone else in a medical facility. Not long term. You can make yourself sick. And actually, the more effective the mask, the quicker you'll make yourself sick.
Yeah.
Like we're not built that way. Our biology is not meant for that.
Well, I saw Dr. Fauci. He was wearing a mask when he was standing next to Trump.
Well, I'm not surprised. I think Trump's Secret Service, a few of them tested positive for coronavirus. But I think most Californians at this point, especially up in Northern California, I think we already had it by now. They opened up a mall up in Yuba City. So their mall opened back up, I think, 2 weeks ago. So I don't think we're too concerned up here anyway.
By the way, Nick's
they said it, your guys is quarantine down to August down there.
Yeah. No, that's what they said. Nick says that his mask is made 100% of virgin pubes, which, the air quality
makes sense.
Yeah. But then you're breathing pure, beautiful air.
True.
Yeah.
Up in Northern California, you can go into a restaurant and sit down again too. A lot of places. So.
Yeah, I heard that was starting to happen. That was it. That's in Northern. And you said the mall is open? Our malls are ghost towns still. Not even
There's
closed.
a mall up in Yuba City. They opened up their mall about 2 weeks ago. So that's north of here. And then you had one restaurant in El Dorado County that opened up for dine-in seating, and they've been packed ever since. Been packed, like overflowing. They ran out of food a couple times. And so once that happened, and the sheriff's department came out and said, we're not prosecuting anyone for opening business up again. You had a flood of restaurants opening back up for dine-in seating in the area. So
I wonder.
They're moving forward.
I wonder when we're going to go back to, like, I'll know things are back to normal when I can buy a movie ticket, when there's no social distancing. I wonder when things will just be plain back to normal.
I don't think you're going to see a level of normality like it was before.
Yeah, you better get over that thought.
A lot of places, your insurance companies, a lot of them pretty much gave up on the retail locations and they're just having their people work from home. I think the school system, you'll see an adjustment in the school system. I mean, even during, it might come down to if you have a kid that has lice, they might send everyone to do school from home until, it's eradicated. That might be just the way they handle these things from now on. But I also think you're going to see a lot of kids not wanting to go back to school. You'll see a lot of more, distance learning in elementary, junior high, public school systems too. So
I wonder if, by the way, now that school bullying will be out of the way, I think we'll have a whole new thing of cyberbullying.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Cyberbullying.
Commander Cumslinger will return to blow them all away.
Even with adults, I don't know about the kids, but the adults are out of fucking control.
They are.
They are. But JP, if there's no more fake mass school shootings, I mean, what are they gonna do? What's gonna happen?
Well, we're in the midst of all.
And I have been on the censorship cusp for years. What did I do? I mean, one time it was I merely posted a guy with a penis nose, and that got me like suspended from Facebook. I was in Facebook jail for a couple of weeks. Penis nose.
You should have told him to do a podcast with him.
Both had our Discord account nuked.
Really?
And Debbie hasn't done anything. I will say that I was a part of mass group trolling, and everyone was. But yeah, for the first time in history, they disabled my Discord user account over a complaint or 20. So
you got disconnected from Discord?
Yeah, I have another account in there now. But yeah, remember when I came in, I go, hey, that's me. And they're like, who is this? And I'm like, no, it's me, you guys. They nuked my other account. It was the same lady that had Debbie's account nuked, and Debbie had her account nuked for no reason. It's the same person. She nuked mine as well.
Well, you guys have a little too much fun, maybe. I don't know. There was a lot going on.
Quarantine mania.
It was. It hit hard. Now, I will return in about 4 minutes, but I expect Liz to at least attempt to come on video.
Right. I am not wearing a top, so I am not coming on video.
Well, just put a bikini top on. We'll love it. It's up to you. You know what, honey bunny?
A bikini top on.
You don't have to do anything that you don't want to do. Now, have you seen any good movies lately, Liz? Have you?
No, every movie I've seen has been shit.
Really?
Yeah.
What was the last film you saw?
I even put out on a limb and saw that Trolls Troll Tour movie and hated it.
Troll what movie?
The Trolls movie, the new one, the Amazon's doing the theater. Like you can basically go to the theater on Amazon, the movies in theaters. You could like pay a normal ticket, see
Yes.
an in theater movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw the Trolls movie because I'm running out of movies to watch.
Now,
And
when
I
is Wonder Woman coming out?
I don't know. I don't really care. I'm looking forward to a few other movies that are scheduled to come out this year, but now are being postponed into next year. So that's a little disappointing to hear.
Yeah,
but the best movie coming out this year is going to be the Liz WTF stick figure porn.
that will be great. Stick figure porn, I guess. Have you ever? Well, I was going to ask about Futa, but that is I don't know if you've probably ever seen that. You know, the Futa porn.
No.
Yeah. I think there's one called Black Sheep Verkova, and it's rather interesting. I don't want to give away too many luscious details on that. I also have had an idea, and have you ever heard of the porn movie Taboo?
Yeah.
Was it just me that brought it up, or had you heard of it before?
Before you and I have talked about it before?
Yes.
It was. I haven't heard about it until you and I spoke about it.
Damn it, Liz! You're not naked or on our cam. Why?
Hold on. I'm talking.
So, do you want to know the reason? Do you want to know the reason why I'm not wearing a shirt right now, JP?
Why?
So I have this. I have this SLS camera, and you guys caught me right in the middle of me figuring out if the SLS camera can detect my boobs or not. So this SLS camera,
Wow.
stick figure form, and you can see your hands, and you can see legs and limbs, and you can move. And I was sitting there trying to figure out if it could detect my boobs and if they would show up as new sticks on the camera. And that's literally, you guys caught me right in the middle of me trying that out.
We were talking about
a science experiment.
We were talking about Taboo, the movie Taboo, one of my favorite subjects, Joe. And actually,
I own the video.
You can all actually
part 1 and part 2
online. But so, have you ever seen the movie Taboo?
But it's better having VHS tape.
All the way through? No.
Okay.
I have.
Now, have you seen the movie Back to the Future?
I have.
Okay. So I thought about, and there's a song in there in Taboo called "Hello, Mother," but I thought about.
We can make this, by the way, distant filming. Let's do this. We're going to do this with Liz, but go ahead.
Okay.
Throw the pitch.
Because I thought about, combining the movie Back to the Future and Taboo together. And I would call it, God, this is going to get me so, any conservative that's listening to this right now is just going to hate me. But I thought about calling it Back to the Future, Hello, Mother, Hello Again.
And we could do this. We could all film our, from our homes and maybe put together.
You can do that. Well, you know what? Hey, can you do that in stick figure? By the way, Taboo.
I can. I can do that.
Back to the Future meets Taboo, and we can do.
Why can't
actually? He makes love to his mom, and then he's his father's son. No, he's his father and his son. Hello, Mother. Hello again.
Hello again.
That is terrible.
But we should do it.
I mean, we can do it. I could put whoever's head I want on stick figure porn too. So that is something.
Okay, we can have Kay Parker and a young Michael J. Fox. Ron Jeremy.
Get sued over that. But let's go for one of the more poorer people that listen to the show, because if they can afford attorneys, they're out.
Oh, really? Can we get sued for that? Just for putting your face over it? It's a parody.
No.
Hello, mother. Hello again.
It's just
No.
that one you got to be careful with. Or I could take like Michael J. Fox's face and change his nose into like a dinosaur nose, and then you can't tell it's him, kind of.
And you can put JP's nose there. Because
Yes.
Michael J. Fox is
Nick
Jewish.
wants to call into the show. Where does he call in?
Who wants to call in?
Nick, he's been in your chat room.
Who, Nick? Nick?
Yes.
I would say no.
Yep. Send him the link. Send him the link that you have to get in. Oh, you don't have it. Brian, you can send the link.
I sent him the YouTube link.
Yeah, if you can send that link to him,
Anybody who wants,
it'll put him on camera though.
yeah, anybody who wants to come into this.
Oh.
No, you don't have to go on camera. I'm not even on camera right
Are you sure you want that?
Yep.
How fat is he?
If you-
I wouldn't call him fat. I would call him inebriated, and he has dentures. I think he's only 40, and he has like no teeth. He's probably drunk. He's gonna sound a lot like this, and then he's gonna
Perfect.
really ask me to show tits, and that's how that conversation is probably gonna go.
Oh, okay. Do you know that? Okay. Does this person live with you? I mean, like, do you know him like in person?
He does not. No, I do not know him in person. He's from he's Discord. He's from that PTDMS server.
Ah.
He is also given a guy a blowjob at least 3.
Oh no!
Oh wait a minute, or he took a blowjob. He doesn't consider himself gay, but guys have given him a blowjob.
Well, I would never let a man touch my privates. Would you ever let a woman touch your privates, Lizzie?
No.
You know, that's, well,
Unless it's JP. He's a pretty lady.
it's a pretty lady.
I am.
Yes. But, you know,
Are
like,
you guys wearing sunglasses?
yes.
Yes, and you asked me a question earlier if something was a hoax or not. What was it?
Well,
Oh, that was a hot button issue. Never
I
mind.
was wondering if the Holocaust was misdescribed, because I've been hearing that a lot lately, that it was not as bad as it was presented to be, and some people went to the extent of calling it a hoax.
There is a Jew by the name of, and I don't, have any feelings on the matter, but there is a person by the name of David Cole, who is a Holocaust revisionist, and he says that the number is far exaggerated, and he has a lot of I don't even know if he's on YouTube anymore. He might have gotten scrubbed completely off, but he was a Jewish, not a Holocaust denier.
I think we should ask him on for an interview.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if he's even around anymore. And the ADL, I mean, not the ADL, but the JDL had actually a hit. There were people wanting to kill him for entering in that information. And there is some theory that the Russians wanted to greatly punish the German people. And, the Jews also wanted to punish the Germans, and they also wanted their state. So they kind of, and it sounds, to me, all that shit sounds far-fetched. I don't believe in any of that crap. I believe it was a horrible thing. I believe that Germany was a very vindictive and very cruel nation that made anti-Semitism its centerpiece.
And the beauty of transparency and merit is that we have all kinds of opinions. And I think Brian is way off the mark. Eyes closed.
Liz, you were saying?
Sorry, Liz, go ahead.
Like saying that anybody or there have been people to have known that have spoken out against or saying that the Holocaust was misdescribed, that those people essentially were thrown in jail or killed over their rendition of what happened.
Well, I've been told that any podcast that even tries to go there is going to get yanked off pretty quick.
Yeah, that's a subject. That's a subject you cannot.
Well, why'd you ask me about it?
I don't know. When did the subject about the Holocaust?
I forgot that.
Come on.
She asked earlier, and I couldn't remember what it was until it was too late. The words were out of my mouth, and I was like, "Oh, well, we'll go there." But I think one day, I think I would field that question on, maybe on a podcast. We don't care that gets taken down.
I mean, the one thing is you cannot. I don't think you could debate like. If you debate white South African farmers and you talk about it, your podcast will get extremely limited play. You can't even address that issue, and that's real too.
Well, and that's the thing. Can you not like talk about it even, or can you not debate it? Because having a debate over it is one thing, but questioning it and wondering, I think is different. So that's what I'm wondering.
Anything like that?
Questioning will take you down. It will take you down the road to truth, and that will get you yanked down quicker than anything. There are people out there, forces out there that will flag you, and there's not much. Once you try to defend that position of it being misdescribed, which it was, you're going to get a lot of angry people. And if your show has any kind of momentum, that's going to be killed immediately. You can count on it.
I mean, that was the one thing that really cost, what the hell is it? Nick Fuentes. Liz, have you heard of Nick Fuentes?
I have.
Yeah. He looks whiter than anybody here, but he is he calls himself an Afro-Latino. And I think he made a joke about the Holocaust, and that was it. He was completely done for. And to me, that issue's not. I think a lot of people who delve into that issue a lot of times are anti-Semitic themselves, and it's kind of a cruel thing to do, in my opinion. To like a lot of people who are obsessed with the Holocaust revisionism or Holocaust denial are a bit on the cruel side and a bit on the vindictive side. On average, not 100% done.
In fact, the people I guess once again, it's not one person or another. I've been hearing it on a few different platforms now, and it had got enough mentions to catch my attention. Like, what are they talking about? And the people who were talking about it aren't necessarily anti-Semitic, but what their angle essentially was, governments lied to us, and here's how and why, and how stories are misdirected to fit the narrative, and they were using that as an example. And so, not to take away from how horrid it was and how horrible it was, because it was, but
don't worry about it. You can't do that.
In matter of the fact, with numbers and data and things like that, where they were pretty much trying to call them out on that, not the severity of it, just the facts of it is what they were trying to call them out on. So.
Well, we all know that all governments lie, all world bodies lie, and all of them are inaccurate from time to time. For a long time, we thought a much higher percentage of American troops, not much higher, but it was like the deaths of American servicemen in the Korean conflict, the Korean War, was about 53,000 until recently, and then it turned out to be 39,000. So there has always been inaccurate counting when it comes to governmental or even world. I mean, look what the World Health Organization did. So governments can lie and they can fool the public. I mean, that's not impossible.
All you gotta do is take the words apart.
Any word, and it's still alive.
What's that? Do I think who's still alive?
That Kim Jong Un.
I don't know. You know what?
He's a dummy.
Yeah, yeah, that might be. I mean, who knows?
We pull the weekend at Bernie's on everyone.
Yeah, that's a possibility. I mean, the war that we had. I mean, the war that America had between them. I mean, you know what? I mean, people say we would lose the war against China, but the Chinese know. Like we were thinking of at one time during the Korean War, there was, I think there was contemplation of dropping hydrogen bombs on Korea. I mean, on the Soviet Union and on Korea. And MacArthur, when that deal was rejected, MacArthur said, "Well, can I at least bomb them with low-level nukes?" And that, you know, a lot of Americans thought that was a good idea, that we should have done that. And that only till recently did you know, like, I mean, it's not as popular as it was 30 or 40 years ago, but it was an idea that was bandied about. And there are older, like, military generations, like those who were in Vietnam and those who had, like, who are Korean War vets and others who thought, you know, hey, that wasn't, you know, that's something that we might have, you know, maybe should have done, you know, and made the whole of Korea, you know, unified, and then also stick it to China.
Well, you know, Americans have such a different mentality over what their, you know, devotion and loyalty means to the country. So, I mean, we have our drafts and things like that where, you know, you can draft someone, they'll go in, but then you have people who will run, then you have people who just won't go, and, you know, you can sign up on if you want, if you don't. But
it was
the Chinese, we decided to go to war with the Chinese.
Yeah.
You know, they're going.
Yeah.
And, you know, we can sit there and go, oh, they're sympathetic, and, oh, you know, the people would rise up. But I guarantee you the people won't rise up. And you'll watch all those people who we're very friendly with now turn into a bunch of American killers.
Yeah, you know, what was decided after the Second World War, when we were getting our foot into the, like when the Cold War was just starting, they had said that, hey, that America could, like, a conventional war with Russia, America could not win, is what the prevailing thought was. You know, because you have a mass amount of people, and they said a free people, you know, will lose to kind of an enslaved people.
Yeah, well, and then you have to remember that China owns so much of the U.S. and has so much invested in the U.S.
Well, they didn't own the.
I think there's a reason why we could go around talking shit.
Yeah.
Just even to China without a whole lot happening. What my concern would be to where when you talk about trade wars and then you talk about the coronavirus and the economic effects of that, what happens if, you know, everyone loses? Would China still, you know, have our back in that case? And who exactly would they, you know, friend up to go against us, which is kind of a horrifying thought.
Well, RD said the Chinese need people to buy their crap, and you don't bite the hand that feeds them. Which I mean, like during the Korean War, we weren't trading with them at all. We were at war with them. And during, like I said, during the start of the Cold War, the belief was without, like, our high-powered nuclear weapons, we couldn't stand a chance against the Chinese or the Russians, because the Russians are not a free people. The Chinese and the Russians are not a free people, and they will, you know, killing 1 million of them. I mean, because we did. I mean, estimated we killed over 1 million of their soldiers, and Americans would never stand for the amount of loss. They just wouldn't. They wouldn't stand for the amount of loss because they
wouldn't. Well, I mean, you bite the hand that feeds you. So even on a manufacturing point of view, we'll even say the companies that I'm associated with, we've diverted our ordering from China into places like Turkey. Because you don't have the tariff issues and they can get it to us quick, and so a lot of people have done that, where they flex their ordering into places like that, or you can go to like Vietnam. Or places like that. So I mean, I know on that level, China is being hit. One of our manufacturers that we use out for China, we wanted to order a widget device from them, or widgets from them, I should say. And they were asking if we could just give them $10,000 on top of the order because they need the money to get supplies to make these things. And so it looks like it's getting pretty desperate out there. But at the same time, is it the smartest thing to then empower places like Turkey?
Well, now RD is saying what exactly did the WHO do? Did the WHO do? Well, they did that magic bus, but no. What they did was, from my understanding, is that they lie. They were a puppet of China, and they misinformed about this virus. And they inflicted it, causing that infliction to go on the rest of the world, and causing an economic.
Yeah, and how many clowns, sit around with, oh, it didn't come into the United States until January. When I was telling everyone, I was like, no, I think I had this in December, and I think this was around long before. But they're like, no, because they found this guy in a fucking cow in fucking China. It didn't happen until January. Well, that can't be true, because I'm pretty sure I had it in December. And because of that, and there was so much time spent on the wrong story, how many people got sick and were at risk and exposed, and then add the economy shutting down on top of it. I mean, because everyone had the wrong story, and who ran with that story? And the United States, even though by the time that they caught on to it, I think a considerable amount of the West Coast had it, and it had recovered or died and not know why they died, or contributed to the normal flu. But they ran with that narrative for a minute until they figured out, oh no, they were working on biological chemical warfare shit. An accident happened, it got out, and then they covered it up, which is only a recent thing that came out. But yeah, I know, and fuck the World Health Organization for that, who's running with that narrative without actually knowing what happened or doing a proper research. Like, they walked in there like, hey guys, there's a virus, people are dying, the economy's gone to shit. What happened? They're like, oh, it's this cow and this guy. And he's dead now, but so you can't ask him what happened. But yeah, that's what happened. They're like, oh yeah, it sounds legit. Let's go report to the world. Really? We did. We did. We ran with that.
So how many years? How many years, Liz? How many years do you think it's going to be before people can actually go buy a ticket to a movie theater, popcorn, some juicy fruits, and sit right next to somebody, shoulder to shoulder, and watch a movie?
I don't think it's going to be as long as you think. I don't think that many people were afraid. Right before they ordered the quarantine, we were at a restaurant and we were having quarantine or COVID-19 mimosas one morning. The packed restaurant. There was no fear of it when it was going on. But we also think a lot of us already had it. But even now, the drive-ins are packed. The malls are packed. People want to go dine out. I think you're way underestimating how many people feel that they're independently responsible for their health and well-being, are aware of the situation and will take the risk with all the information in the world.
Now, by the way,
I think lots of people go to the movies, just like the gym. My gym's been shut down for 3 months. I spoke with the owner the other day, and they've had 126 new memberships in the last 2 weeks, just preparing for it to open 2 weeks from now.
I wanted to mention that Wayne Whitehead says, or Whiteside says, too many women wear nose rings. Liz, have you ever had a nose ring? Be honest.
No.
What?
No. Why?
Oh, shit. Well, a lot of chicks your age kind of do that, you know. You millennials with your nose rings.
They give you a boner killer?
Well, I have preference for women without tats and nose rings. You don't have any tats? Do you have any tats?
Mm-mm.
So you are unusual amongst your millennial people.
Do you have any piercing?
No. I have my ears pierced.
So you don't have a nose, like a nose. So you never had like a nose. You never were one of those chicks that had like a nose ring and stuff like that. Have you ever dyed your hair?
Yep.
Like, have you ever dyed
I
it
my
like?
hair now.
Have you really?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever dyed it like pink or green?
No, never pink or green.
So no, like outlandish. Like, have you ever done like a mohawk or anything like that, or you know?
Nope. Just in my pubic hair. Only mohawk.
Hmm. So no real feminists like Doc Martens and fucking mohawks, nose rings.
Nope.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
How about your nipples?
I don't have a mohawk on my nipples. No.
Okay. Now I bet.
No. Honestly, I've been pretty. I'll hang out with anyone. I hang out with people who are in punk rock bands, and I have feminist friends. I have very conservative friends. I have Jewish friends. I have non-Jewish friends.
Do you have any
with everyone.
Do you have any SJW friends?
I don't know. I'm sure someone is.
Is there any Antifa?
I'm friends with everyone from every different sort of background, but do I look like one or the other? I don't think so.
Well, you're not wearing a nose ring and the Doc Martens.
Oh. I walk around in yoga pants.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah. I remember there was a guy who did workout videos, and I guess it was called yoga pants, but they were like biker pants, or those biker bike riding shorts. And he was a black gentleman, African American, black gentleman, and he wore like these biker shorts with no underwear, and he would do like exercises like jumping jacks, and say women are beautiful out there today. And you could see the outline. It was on public access, by the way. You had a lot of interesting. Did you ever hear? By the way, Liz, there was a show called Colin's Sleazy Friends, and he was on. I don't know if it was just L.A. It was all of California public access or L.A. But
that's way before her time.
Liz.
That's way before her.
Okay. Well, it was in the 90s, but she might have been too young to watch that show. And do you remember, by the way, do you remember Fran Dancer, Joe?
I do.
What?
Yeah.
On public access?
I've seen it. I wouldn't have been old enough to watch it, but there's recordings of that out there.
Colin Sleazy Friends or Fran Dancer?
Fran Dancer.
Joe, do you remember Fran Dancer? Joe, are you answering?
it came up in a conversation with someone I work with probably in the last month.
Her real name is Angela.
So
I'm
he's from
kidding.
LA, so that makes sense.
Did you hear what I said? Did Joe just leave the room? God damn it.
He's bapping it.
He's probably is. And then has she ever had gonorrhea? Okay, never mind. Get out of here. Just moron.
Who is that? Who's asking that?
Joe seemed to be walking off the show. He might be coming back at any moment.
I'm back.
He said he was going to be gone for 4 minutes. Oh, there he is.
Well, there's a gentleman by the name of August Kundist. And
Have I ever had
VD or
who's she?
yes.
Have I ever had gonorrhea?
So
Are you not supposed to have gonorrhea?
maybe. Hey, by the way, Joe, do you remember Fran on
Yeah.
public access? Do you remember Fran Dancer?
No.
She was amazing. She used to dance like she was a big woman who used to love to dance. Fran Dancer. I don't think she's alive anymore. If she is alive, I'd be surprised. But she might have been Angela. I'm kidding. Angela, don't come after me.
No, Carter.
Don't come after me, Angela.
Is Angela listening?
What's that?
Do we know anybody who's died from coronavirus yet?
No.
Nope. And we won't.
I don't know anyone personally, but there have been estimates of 80,000 deaths. And Joe.
Did you know
Yes.
that they are counting anybody who died during the pandemic? They are counting that death as a coronavirus death.
You know what?
If you get in a car accident and die because there's a pandemic, they contribute that to and they count it towards a coronavirus death.
I would not be surprised. This whole thing seems rather sketchy, so I would not be surprised if they counted those numbers what they counted them. That's just
They do. There's a huge hysteria up in Sacramento because the nurses are talking about it. People are talking about it. Like my uncle died, and on the death certificate, even they put down COVID-19. And so, if you are dying during the pandemic, they are listing it as a coronavirus death.
yeah. I mean, there's always sketchy stuff with this kind of crap, and when government money gets involved, and there's politics being played, you're going to see lies. And when there's power, money, and things involved, you're going to see a lot of lies. So someone said, my nephew had corona and jumped out of a plane but forgot his parachute. So he died of corona. Very unfortunate. And
True.
yeah, so I think we're exhausting all topics here, and I think
Liz, you've
you've been doing some really fun shows.
yeah, but you
I've been doing we're wrapping up the coronavirus series now that we're starting to come out of quarantine where I'm at. I'm sorry you guys are in quarantine till August down there. I still go down there though. So I mean I guess I'm not in quarantine, but you guys are.
yeah.
But yeah, we're wrapping that up.
I have a feeling they'll ramp the numbers up again.
Gonna wrap it up, no pun intended, for coronavirus. But we have a DIY, and I get to throw some acid on some people this weekend, and a few other things. And then we move into we're going on a haunted hotel tour, and we're going down to LA, all of us.
But their hotels aren't even open.
Guys.
Nice.
They're not open in California. They are open around the country. It depends on where you go. So like one of the stops we're doing is down in Savannah, Georgia. We'll be heading to Texas. We'll be heading to Portland. There's a few other stops in New York. Hopefully we'll end up in New York at the end of the tour. And then hotels are open in California. I don't know about LA yet. We're still trying to find out. They're open, but you can't go to like a restaurant inside the hotel and things like that. So there's one down in LA that we'll be going down and staying in the hotel, and then doing our normal shit show inside of the most haunted room of these hotels, which should be very interesting to listen to. Probably, maybe.
I want to join that show, Liz. I want in on that.
You guys are more than
I
welcome.
want in.
More than welcome to come.
Where is this going to be held? How far away?
Huh?
Is this going to be in LA?
There's one in LA. The one I would think that JP would probably have a really good time on is down when we head into Savannah. There's this one that is just really messed up down there. And I'm paying for the plane tickets to that one too. So if that's something you want to do, let me know, and I'll get that arranged. And I mean, it's one bed, so expect a fun orgy.
Yes.
You know, go to the orgy. I guess it does. See, it's more haunted than you know.
Dr. Fauci. I've written a Dr. Fauci song.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. But there's one down in LA where Marilyn Monroe.
Dr. Fauci
or something. No, it's in New York.
So, Liz, you believe that sooner than you think, people are going to be going back to movie theaters, strip clubs are going to open, and everything's going to go back to normal.
Yeah, I unfortunately think you're going to see a dumbing down of society after everything goes back to normal. In fact, I think it's going to go way more normal. I think you're going to see a boost in entertainment. I think you're going to see change in entertainment and how the way things are handled. But depending on how long it takes for things to get back to normal, I think you're going to have a balancing out, of social distancing. But I mean, I think you'd be surprised a year from now. Are we going to be social distancing or making fun of the time where we social distance?
Yeah, I mean,
you never know. You never know with society nowadays.
You know what? I mean, this could be like, we were all wrong. Everyone died. Or like, what? We could look back on this and say this was the biggest overreaction in history. Or, hey man, there were people. They weren't crying wolf. This wasn't Chicken Little. This was. They didn't listen, and the people went out and had their orgy, and then like biblical times,
I think there's going to be. Yeah. I think there's going to be a ramping up of the numbers. I don't feel like whoever's throwing this party is done partying yet. I think they're just going to
for a little bit. So I think they're going to line some numbers here, which I think they already have been. Starting to do that because they're trying to keep people at home. But also, I think that in a year from now, you'll have everybody in their crowds and things like that at a bar, and you're going to hear that one asshole. It's like, excuse me, please sneeze 6 feet away from me. And then they're going to get, beat up in a bar, and that's going to be the end of that. They're going to be made fun of because, humans forget. We all forget. You're in the United States so quickly. Like, people forgot what it was like when Obama was in office. And how shit things were in the economy, and how it was really hard, and how there was a civil war between, African Americans and white cops, and vice versa, and like the struggles between races, and everyone forgets about all that kind of crap right now.
Well, that kind of stuff
wasn't that long ago. So I think something like the coronavirus, you'll get your random person who remembers it, but I think society in general will probably forget and get over it and just kind of complain about their lives and go on. Like,
you know what though, Liz? One thing that I notice that may be opening people up together is all groups want to see the states, seem to want to see this, seem to want some kind of opening.
I think they're laying on the coronavirus stuff thick. I think the reason why they have the activists out there running around, it's an election year, and they're going to do everything they can to make Trump look like garbage. Even if they can, though, I mean, the Dow right now, looking at it, and it's 24,000, a little over 24,000 and a half. And you got to remember that even at the beginning of his term, it wasn't that, but they're looking at that going, oh, the economy's in turmoil. Well, it may be in turmoil, but before he even went into office, it was 5,000-6,000 points less than it is in turmoil. So you have to think about things like that, but of course nobody's. Once again, you're talking about trying to gauge the recovery period on a group of citizens who have the shortest memories I've ever seen.
Well, the one thing I'll say, the one thing that has been an asset for the Republicans is Nancy Pelosi. Every time she gets on camera, she is an asset to the Republican Party. She just
you know what? This is going to be my unpopular opinion, but I think she handled, or at least fought for, some really appropriate things during the coronavirus.
Really? You might be, I mean, like I said, you might be
Get
right.
out of here.
But when she comes on with her ice cream, and she comes across as such, and of course Trump is, he comes from an elite and wealthy background, but when Nancy Pelosi talks, she really does come across as a very elitist, Nurse Ratched type of person. Like, I'm going to tell you what is.
She does, but yeah, she gained favorability points with me, even probably on a political level.
So you agree with it when she first held up the money? You agreed with that, the way she did that?
So it wasn't that, but there were certain things that really resonated with me, and it's because of my position in my career, and me listening to the people I work for and work with, and who was really struggling versus who wasn't. And she was fighting for the underdog, which was, small to medium-sized businesses, and trying to get them funding. So, I mean, you had companies like Papa Murphy's who, had a $10 million stimulus or a paycheck protection program loan from the SBA, who, after they'd shut off funding, and because there was no more funding left, and they weren't giving out loans to companies who weren't getting these small to medium-sized businesses, they ended up giving their $10 million back because they quote unquote didn't need it. And all these large businesses ended up getting funding no problem, and not seeing the hoops and not seeing the struggle with getting those, because there was bias in the loan in the banking system. But your small to medium businesses were getting screwed, and all over California.
Yeah, no. And I may agree with that, but one of the reasons they wanted to do that first, because the stock, like if the stock market plummets and people start taking their money out, the one thing I could be completely wrong on this, but the one thing they wanted to do is like, hey, the large businesses are much more connected to Wall Street.
No, that was not the way that was intended. In fact, she went in there and said, if we find out that we're paying your payroll and you're still like dicking around in the stock market with that, and you're still doing okay, then we're going to come after you. So, I mean, that's so, and knowing that, and knowing, and not only, having partnership with these companies and running them, and I mean, different levels, and very, very in these industries, heavily involved in them, they were getting screws put to them. And it came to the point where, it's like, do we have to shut our doors? What are we going to do? And so what I ended up doing was, and a lot of it was pull resources from other businesses to loan to each other where we could, but that's finite resources. very finite, very quick resources. And so, there was a huge uproar with that. And so where it's like, okay, fine, you want to fund these businesses, whether you're large or small, great. But, it was irresponsible for Papa Murphy's to take a loan that they didn't need and then come to find out after they had shut down funding so nobody else could get it, then they want to return the money. They basically absorbed the resource from anybody else who actually needed it, and later on return the money. And so Nancy Pelosi was fighting hard for those people. And I know they pulled some idiotic stunts in the Democratic Party, and I don't appreciate that. And don't get me wrong, I don't think it was all angelic and great. But I will say that the part that resonated for me, because it affects employees, it affects, your household, your mortgage, your rent, your bills, feeding your family. Because I know that trickle down effect. I mean, you're talking hundreds of employees that I know of and person responsible for. To see those people overlooked for people taking out loans and not really needing them, that really pisses me off. And she fought for those people. So.
Yeah, I mean, she also, I think wasn't it diversity inclusion, and they wanted to tie, online. I mean, like I heard they wanted to do some shady stuff as well, and I think she just left the meeting. And from my understanding, she didn't negotiate. She, she was kind of lazy to a degree and didn't negotiate. Like at the first, like had it been done the first thing, that she did it late. Is my understanding.
And maybe, and once again, I'm not agreeing. And you're talking to someone I normally don't care for Nancy Pelosi at all. I'm a California resident. I find her incredibly frustrating, annoying, unproductive on a large scale, and historically kind of bad for California. So when I saw that, though, what I saw was what was actually important, which was making sure that these people get the help that they need, that they get paid. Nothing personally myself, but everyone else, because that is my community. These are the people that I live with. These are the people that I talk to. These are the people my kids go to school with. These are everyone that I know. And they weren't getting what they needed because of, at the end of the day, big business. And she was against that. And so that resonated with me pretty hard.
That might be true. That might be true. And with that being said, Joe, is there anything to add before we call this show a day?
Are you getting tired?
I'm still not voting for her. But
no. But is she in your district?
No, not in my residential district. But at the same time, it just kind of, what she did was she grabbed my attention in a way that I don't think I'm the only one that saw that. And so because of that, what she did there, she may have been able to shift and convert, I think, a lot of the California population, where I think that the state was turning in more conservative. And if she wouldn't have done that, it would have sealed the deal to bring California into a conservative state. But I think she may have actually swung the state back more Democrat.
Well, there was a congressional, California just, the Democratic Party in California, California just lost a congressional seat. And it also lost, and Wisconsin also lost a congressional seat. And if this is any indication of the future, there seems like there will be a huge red wave.
No, I agree across the board. But once again, going back to what actually, became important. I mean, politicians, they talk all the time. It's always a bunch of noise and blah, 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 blah. But I think during the coronavirus, where, things weren't so forgiving, like they were talking about mortgage relief at one point, rent relief, and none of that really kind of came to fruition. You had to have companies stepping up for themselves. Well, while you're waiting for all this to happen, what is going to happen? How are you going to feed your family? What is the status of things? And so the quickest way that relief package to anyone was going to be brought down was going to be through those SBA loans, so people can keep paying for their employees. And a lot of small businesses and medium businesses got the screws put to them. And so, when she got up there and said that, California, I think, is probably secured Democrat easily in the next election. Where if she didn't do that, it wouldn't have been that way.
Yeah, no, I mean, but
as long as she's alive, anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And the thing is,
she always she doesn't cease to, she's usually the best gift the Republicans could ever have as far as an election, because she's such a moron most of the time.
Yeah. Well, the Democrats,
but, you're talking about emotions and not logic here.
Yeah. But
the emotions, and she got them.
The Democrats, whom they have not done a good job in vetting. You should know, like, vet someone a little bit better, because they were behind Joe Biden, and he has a lot of skeletons in his closet. And you got to know, if someone is showing signs of dementia, you got to know that.
Yeah, that kind of brings back to the point that people have the shortest memories. If you think about what it was like, the world, in the state of the world right before Obama left office, it was fucking horrible. It was absolutely terrible. Horrible. That's the reason why Trump was elected, because it was that bad. To where people went, I would rather have this pussy grabbing, furniture buying, guy from New York in entertainment than anything else right now. And so there was a reason why Trump was like, he's going to drain the swamp. And people were so sick of the state of things that they wanted to drain the swamp. And so memories are so short now that Biden is in the running against Trump. And he was the vice president during the Obama era. But that's how much people forget, like, why he's, even a thing. But I personally think it's not going to be hard. I think it's a landslide year for Trump. I think old Ruthie is Ruthie Bader Ginsburg. I think she's on the way out. They're going to give another Supreme Court justice to another Republican, and then that deal is sealed for another 20 years. So, all said and done.
Yeah, what you have also, and yes, you have lowered thinking people also coming of age, talking about short memories. We're also looking at so many advances, so-called, in technology, and I think the young people just have no idea that nostalgia even has been diminished so much. I don't know. Do you remember old animated films like 101 Dalmatian and Bambi, movies like that? Brian, do you remember how Bambi's mom died?
Yeah, she got shot
and killed by a hunter. I remember that because as a kid, I was just like,
racist.
What kind of world are we living in where, what the hell is that? It was really sad for me. It really made an impact. And I think Animals is a good example of just the social programming. And I know this is kind of obscure, but somebody also mentioned supply chains are being threatened, and there is a possibility of that, real life food shortages, and so just using the example of animals now in films are propped up to be even more important than humans. And it's just amazing. I don't know if you've seen some of the newer anime where all the animals are the kings, and it's just I've just found that as a real interesting example of how social programming works, and I think that could lead ultimately, and I only bring that up because there's I've heard that there are places where hunting will be illegal and fishing even will be illegal, and those are real food sources for some people in the event of some kind of serious problem with being able to obtain food, people are gonna have to. I think some people, at least, will go out and get their own food, and that'll be made, illegal. So there's all these other.
I think people should learn how to grow their own food.
Grow your own food. Couldn't think of a better way. Yeah, who killed Dumbo? I can't remember.
No one killed Dumbo.
Nobody killed Dumbo.
Now, by the way, Liz, speaking of animals, I tweeted to you. I wonder, and I don't know if you got my tweet, but it's of 2 dogs. I wonder which one, if we were married and we wanted a child and we'd only have a doggy child, which animal you'd want to adopt first?
She's kind of both. Right?
She's going to her Twitter right now, and it's nothing.
So there's a white dog with a mask on.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then there is what appears to be an overweight Labrador playing in the mud, but is very happy. He's recklessly playing in the mud.
Don't
he's getting
shoot
dirty. He looks like he has a hint of downs, but he's happy. And I'm gonna have to run to the lab.
Isn't that? I mean, wouldn't that dog just be such a loving dog to have? Would make you happy. All you got to do. You don't have to take it to Disneyland. Just put out a puddle, man, and let it go. Come on, Liz. And then we could just sit back with some cheesecake and some beer and say, look how happy our child is, right?
That's true. Yeah, that Labrador would be our love child.
But by the way, I was going to mention of the actors of old and the actors of new. Now, Hollywood has always been kind of liberal, but the reason it's more liberal today is because the actors of today did not go through quite the hardships of the actors of past generations. I mean, if you look at the history of Charles Bronson, John Wayne, Clint Eastwood, and you read a little bit about the poverty that they went through. I mean, Charles Bronson had to work in the mines. He developed claustrophobia. You look at their past histories, and they had much more of harsh life reality than a lot of these actors.
You know what that is? I'll tell you what that is. That is also the lowering of the mind. They've taken away the hero's journey. A lot of movies and characters are like that now. In the latest Star Wars, the hero of the movie.
That was the last film you and me and my old man saw, by the way. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was. It's just basically you don't get the hero's journey. Sudden you meet the hero, the star of the movie, who's able to has all the Jedi tricks, but we don't see how she obtained them, and it's quite a thing.
Yeah.
You don't get the hero's journey anymore.
I was so disappointed in that.
Nope. You don't.
Weren't you disappointed in that as well, Liz? No learning the Jedi tricks or anything like that, just becoming an automatic Jedi.
Yeah, it's just like, your birthright. Like way to inflict, elitist mentality on everyone.
Right. There you go.
Now, I didn't even, by the way, I did not catch the last Star Wars movie, The Rise of Skywalker. Do you have any feeling on that, Liz, or did you see it?
Nope.
What?
Nope, I did not.
It was weak.
No, I did not. There's so many of them now. I don't know what to do with it anymore.
The Mandalorian kind of looks interesting. I might check that out. I think that's on TV.
If that is the only thing I haven't watched, then I might check it out. But I don't know. There's a whole world of new porn out there that I would probably put before watching it.
You need to watch Taboo, by the way. It is interesting.
The whole thing?
Sure. Hello, Mother.
Well, look, you can fast forward a little bit of it, but it's the first one of its kind.
How else are you going to be able to make Hello, Mother, hello again?
Yeah.
You need some
Back to the Future. Hello, Mother, hello again. I gotta go back in. I'm going back in time.
So
do they have drive-through strip clubs in your neighborhood, Mr. Midnight Movie?
drive-through? What? This is something I haven't heard of. He probably just went to take a leak. But what? Tell me about this, please.
Are you peeing on a podcast again? What the hell's wrong with you? You're pooping, aren't you?
Very discreet. Yes, he's just laying cable right now. God.
This is silent pooper. I heard washing.
Oh,
Okay.
we heard the flush.
Yeah, they have drive-through strippers. So now you can drive through, and they're stripping like in like glass enclosures, and then you like throw money out the window of your car.
No,
You
And
make
you
I
can
will
do
not
that.
do that.
And then they have.
I'd rather go back in time.
Kitty food delivery people.
Oh,
Gotta go back in time.
Topless food delivery people.
okay. I think I might have to utilize that.
You are married. I highly doubt that would blow over very well in your house. But Ryan, you might.
No way.
You might. be
I'm not
doing
going.
that.
Listen, I'm not driving through a drive-through. What I can see in the privacy of my own home on the internet. You know, you know what? If I can't, like, at
That's
least
hidden cameras there are waiting for you.
maybe, yeah. Surprise! You're on camera.
You know how much that would boost the economy. You could sit there and order like 7 different meals at one time from seven different drivers, and have a bunch of like topless bitches show up at your house at the same time. There's food.
I hope you don't have corona.
To you.
I went to a strip club. I
You
got
probably do.
chlamydia, HIV, AIDS, but no corona.
All from the-
Back in time. I got to go back in time to meet my mother and then meet her again. Back in time.
Well, I missed you guys. I'm coming down to Los Angeles area. You guys gonna come stay in a hotel room with me?
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna be haunted.
Gonna make the greatest
It'll be
podcast
haunted.
of all time.
It'll go in.
The ghost of D's nuts.
Yes.
Yeah, and it gets better. There's gonna be a camera and live action. It'll be live action podcast. People get to finally see me on camera.
Are we gonna recreate the Fatty Arbuckle? Maybe the whole Fatty Arbuckle debacle?
Is that a haunted hotel?
Well, no. He supposedly killed a prostitute. Just,
I think it's in the same hotel.
I hope
think it's
so.
in the same
I hope so.
hotel, 'cause it sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm booking the most haunted rooms, and so we'll have like ghost hunting quote unquote equipment set up, and then we'll be running a podcast from that. And if anything happens, and it does, if not, at least we had a good time and we got to hang out in a cool hotel room without our clothes on together. So
I
it
hope
was
so.
fun.
How many of your friends will be there?
1, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4.
This sounds like an epic party.
How many ladies?
3.
What?
Yeah.
2 dudes and 3 guys. Yeah, that sounds pretty.
A Jewish producer, Jewish Janet producer will be down there too. She
Yeah.
can sing you to sleep with an alphabet, Jewish alphabet.
Yeah.
Lullaby.
This
I'm gonna feed her bacon.
I think we will come with scripts in hand and scripts and cameras, and we're gonna film some great scenes.
I'm gonna feed her
Yeah,
bacon bits.
we might have to mix this up and bring Gigi in there.
Who's Gigi?
Gigi's
Yeah, that
around.
just totally killed this whole conversation. Didn't
Don't
it?
invite Fox. Who's that? Remember that guy Fox? What was his name?
Don't invite Fox.
Fox is in Las Vegas. He's still alive, which I was surprised.
He's back
I'm
in.
gonna throw that guy.
He's only a hop skipping away.
I wanted to throw that guy out the window.
Have you heard any of his recent
He was
stories,
unconscionable.
Liz? Does he have any recent
What?
stories that would be fun to listen to?
Does Fox have any real friends?
Yeah.
Wow.
Fox did something less than a month ago. I'll send you the link. So I'm in a server, so I was talking. I was like, oh my god, like they're here because he tagged me in something, and I was like, oh, like you're still around, like what's going on? And he's like, I'm still around, and he's in Vegas, and of course, Nimbuster
Is
got a
Fox
picture of
is
him,
Fox
like, at a mall, and he was all cockeyed. Like,
is Fox part of? By the way, is Fox? Is he part of Anonymous? And he talks like this.
Yeah, he is.
He's such a phony.
Everyone needs to stay on their
Just wanna
mind.
punch his, just shut your mouth, Foxy. I like Dennis. I would love to party with Dennis. The only thing with Dennis is, I don't know what he's got, man. If Corona 13.0, 25,
Protection, and he's fine. Dennis would be
He's
fun.
probably patient zero, California.
Yeah. You know what?
I have offered to hang out with Dennis, and so I think you guys should too. And I would follow through with that. Dennis doesn't bug me at all, quite frankly.
I am frightened that he may be contagious.
Neil has got a hold of me on Facebook, and let's see here. I will read it out loud to you guys, the message. And Neil also somehow located my Instagram, which I was also equally impressed with. So let's see. Hello, Liz.
He's been bragging about going to your house and doing an ultimate cleanup job over there and getting paid $20 grand or something crazy.
Let's see. We need to do a show. This is for Neil. We need to do a show called The Open Eye Project. We can do the Shovel Party Part 1.
Oh, that's Neil.
Hale, when are we going to do a show? What's your show about? You need to put me on your show with the Open Eye Project, or we could just do the Shovel Party and have some fun.
I remember, by the way, that reminds me. I remember my dad, he was into these old movies and like Culver City and, the real Hollywood, and he would interview these people. We got to get them before, hey, these people, we got to get, they've offered to do the interview. We got to get them before they die. And then I said, Pop, we got to invent something called a shovel-ready interview, meaning they're ready to they're almost ready to die. They're ready to get dirt thrown in their face. And I thought maybe a funny gag. While they're interviewing, just throw a thing of dirt on them, The interview's not even over yet. But like when the interview would be over, just like dump a thing, just a quick thing of dirt on them,
Just be done with it.
A shovel-ready interview.
I think Neil means. I think he actually yields a real shovel. And I think he's inviting me to murder people with him.
Yes.
And maybe, I don't know, it is a quarantine, I guess.
Hey, but by the way,
that means he's in California, by the way. So he's coming to California. So I'm going to send him down to you gentlemen first, and then you let me know if it's safe.
Can I mention, by the way, have you ever had one of those metal detectors, Liz, like where you look for like jewels and gems on the beach and stuff? You've seen those before? Have you ever seen those people
I know
walking
what they
around?
are, but I do not know one.
Oh. Yeah, I had a friend that had one, and he said, the one thing you do find, you find a boatload of change. Sometimes you'll find a watch and stuff, but it's a lot of retirement people. I think Joe and I might want to buy one of those, and Joe and I might just want to scavenge around. Just feel
that old, huh? You're feeling confident in metal detectors on the beach. That's you're going to be like.
I don't know, Liz, if you
It's
saw
a midnight movie and JP.
Yeah. Shovel Ready Productions.
See, I made this for your dad. Boss Ross, right there. I even had.
You know what? We would go with an idea, he'd agree with it, and then he'd say, "I don't want to do that." No, let's not call it that.
Yeah, that's it.
Don't call it Shovel Ready. Don't call me Papa Schnipp.
Don't call me Papa.
Otherwise, hey, Papa Schnipp, don't call me Papa Schnipp.
Where's Pepe? Where's Pepe? I miss Pepe.
Pepe. I think he is in Mexico right now.
Why did you scare him away? Where is he?
I don't know. I might have.
He's very.
I wanted to do a few. I wanted to do a few. He had a voice alternator, and he had one as like a kid. And I wanted him to do like a show called, like I wanted to have him do a 13-year-old voice. It was going to be Brad McFarlane, 13-year-old stud, where like he impregnated all of the older mothers in his trailer park. And yeah, but it didn't work out that way.
I can see why he probably decided against that.
No, we did a show like that though. We did a show like we impregnated a few of his teachers. But I wanted to continue that. Now that it's just
Pepe's good shit. I love Pepe.
Now that stuff is just so taboo that you can't.
Everything is like family member fucking porn. There's like an abundance of it everywhere. I don't understand what's going on.
Well, I mean, now humor has gotten like really politically correct, and the stuff that you kind of thought was funny, like Howard Stern kind of broke a lot of taboos, and now like I don't think the stuff that he did in the late '80s and the '90s, I don't think you could do anymore.
No, probably not. I was sitting there and I was watching a porn not too long ago, and they're like, or I saw the title of it, and it was like, oh yeah, like Mommy Tits McGee or something like that. But I don't really think about it as porn with someone fucking their mom or even playing that role. But when you like have big boobs, they're like, hello, mommy.
Yeah.
They're like big boob. That's a very common thing. I literally thought it was a saying like that, and come to find out that there's just a lot of like family member taboo porn out there, and it's really disturbing how many people are into that.
And I've heard, by the way, like, because I was chatting with a porn star online as Mr. Midnight Movie, and they said, the mainstream porn industry doesn't do those types of films anymore because they've been kind of restricted for whatever reason. About like, so you couldn't make a movie like Taboo, a mainstream porn movie like Taboo anymore, if there is any more mainstream porn anymore.
Yeah, but off stream is now mainstream, and so there's just a glut of family member relationship porn.
Yeah, I mean, some of this,
I'm gonna fix all that right now with stick figure porn with my SLS camera.
Six-figure porn. Oh, you said stick figure porn, camera, yeah. I mean,
it only picks up the stick figure part of you, and hopefully that keeps up, because if I do this live, it'd be really awkward if like the program gave up halfway through. But it's going to have real life sex through an SLS camera. Stick figure porn.
You just got that, right? What'd you get?
I got it on Amazon.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I like my camera.
So yeah, it's gonna be pretty wild. So now anyone can be a porn star, because it only comes out in stick figure form. Imagine the positions. I would like to see someone, laying on, bent over, like rolled over, with their head on the ground and their ass in the air, but their back is arched, and then someone sticking their dick in from the top. Of what that would look like on an SLS camera. I can't wait. I really can't wait.
Well,
I'm an idea person. I know. I
have had ideas for adult films for years, but I don't want to dwell into that anymore, because every time I talk about some of my deepest, darkest secrets or my deepest, darkest thoughts, I stand the chance of getting rather censored. If people not liking
yeah, but this is only stick figures.
Yeah, that's true.
And so, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, it's just, I mean, I think a hand job, people would buy a hand job from stick figures, like going to town.
I'm going to get thorns.
All you could see is blackness. And the thing is that I could actually put this behind any background I wanted. So if you wanted to take a trip at Falls and have your stick figures,
I got names for your stick figure. Can I hold on? I have an idea for the name of your actor and actresses. Woody and Splinters.
Woody Splinter. Well, and they're like accurate to size too. Like,
And then when they, one of the times when they're doing it, they got to catch on fire.
Proportionally accurate.
One of the times when they're doing it, they got to catch on fire.
The world is your oyster. However you want to stage it. All I'm saying is that all I need is two people to go to church on each other, and I think I got a movie. I got the characters. I just need to set the scene after that.
Right.
Will you do anything with a gun to the head and stuff like that?
You think about even Brazilian porn, if they were slapping each other around and like doing all that, like how fucking weird that would look on the fucking and then like the whole head to the crotch thing on your Brazilian porn, where she's like jamming that chick's head into her crotch. Imagine stick figures with sound capabilities.
That might, yeah. I mean, I gotta take a look at that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It sounds really fucking interesting, huh? I thought about this for at least a day.
I mean,
I have yet to find this can go wrong right now in a quarantine.
I think I'm gonna get a candy bar. Maybe I shouldn't, but I want one.
You could get a candy bar.
When's the last time you had a
I'll
candy
let you
bar?
go.
All right, I'm gonna go. All right, you know what? I'm gonna get to bed. All right.
Look out for my stick figure porn. Splinters, Woody and Splinters.
We should. All right, guys.
All right.
So let's call this.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
Thank you for hanging out. That was great.
Yeah.
I miss you guys. We'll do this again soon.
Absolutely. You got to come on camera though.
I know.
I will. When I have a shirt on, I will come on camera.
You could have put a
No
bra
pun
on,
intended.
a bikini top. We would have, not complained that much. But we'd
Braless.
have-
Huge. Your camera couldn't fit them.
We could try. We could
The
try.
wide
All
angle
right. All right, Liz. We'll talk to you later. It was good having you on, and let's call it a day. Hey, like and subscribe if you're listening. I know it's not.
Yeah, don't forget to spread the link to your shit show or never ending shit show, the Liz What the Fuck show. Spread it around, please, so we know and we're there.
Spread it around.
Grease it
Spread
up.
it all over that toilet seat so no one else can use it. Yes. They're going to have to wipe it off and then have someone and then spread it around again. All right. Anything else to add before I call this thing over? All right. Thank you for listening, and that will do it.